Well, hello, BTG Daily Recap fans. Today's daily recap is for Tuesday, November the 4th, 2025. Well, we have Danny going to Bill in essence to ask him to MC the big charity event that they're planning. He has been the MC for decades, okay? And she wanted him to do it this year. I guess apparently last year he announced his engagement to Haley, or he announced something with Haley, which rocked the whole thing. But she says nobody could get donors to open up their pockets quite like you. And Bill was touched. He's like, I didn't think I would ever be able to do that again. And so he goes, and your parents are signing off on this? She goes, oh, I'll handle mother and father. And so uh he says, and you can tell, um, who did he say? Oh, and you can expect the same level of donation that Hamilton has always given, as support. And she says, thank you. And so he goes, what about Haley? And at that point, Haley was standing in the door. And she goes, well, of course, Haley is always invited. And Haley goes, well, it's about time. And she comes walking in, invited to what? And so Danny looked at Bill. She goes, well, I'm going to take my leave. You can explain this yourself. So she leaves, and Bill tells Haley, it's for a charity event that, the Duprees have hosted for years, and it's coming up, and, he's going to be the MC and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, she doesn't no, she goes, and thanks, Danny, when she walks out, she goes, and thanks again for the sizable contribution or donation or something. And so she goes, what are you giving her money for? And he goes, I'm not giving it to Danny. It's for the benefit. My firm donates every year for this worthy cause. She goes, oh, okay. Well, no, I mean, I just don't want her taking advantage because as your wife, it's my job to look after that. And so she goes, as a matter of fact, have you eaten? And he says, no, I've been so busy, baby, and if you just wait a while, we can go. She goes, no, you know what? Why don't we do this? Why don't I order in takeout that great Italian place that we like? And we can eat right here. We don't have to go out. And he was like, oh, okay. Because she wanted to drug him again, which she did. I got my little picture of it. You know, those drugs, that bottle of whatever the drug is, ought to always be lukewarm because she keeping it up in here. She keeping it close always on her body and pockets. So, hopefully the heat doesn't dilute its strength. But anyway, she puts a couple more drops in his tea. And she's like, here. She goes, he says, why would I want you in this tea? Why would I want tea with Italian? She goes, because it's good for you, Bill. Now, drink up. So he takes it and he's drinking it and he's like, ugh. Now it doesn't taste bad like his drug. Remember, the drug is odorless and tasteless, but I'm with him. I want herbal tea with Italian, right? So anyway, we're slowly progressing the drugging of Bill. My guess is while Bill is on stage at this charity event, that's when Bill is going to collapse right there on that stage in front of everybody. And Danny is going to be jumping up front line and center, you know, to see what is wrong with Bill. Um, let's see. Vanessa flaunts Joey at the country club. And there was this one page club member, Anastasia. She was the one that I think the opening show, the first episode, that told Haley, "Welcome to Fairmont Crest," right? I think it was her. She comes up and is pretty much rude to Vanessa, saying, because her and Joey are looking awfully chummy in everybody's face. Their hand may have touched a couple times. And Vanessa's like, Joey is my business partner. And so Anastasia's like, this looks like it's more than business to me and everybody else in here. And so she goes, Doug is not even cold in his grave. She says, I'm sorry I couldn't make it to his service. I was getting over a procedure, recovering from a procedure I had done. But to see this, you know, how disrespectful. And look, it's not just me saying it. Oh, that's the talk around Fairmont Crest is your activities. We know the nature of this man's nefarious business. And Joey looked at her and he's like, do you really? And so he says, bottom line, I had Vanessa's husband killed so I could take his wife. And Anastasia's like, and Vanessa was like, oh, that like hit her in the chest. And she looked at him and Anastasia, because she also told Vanessa, we all know, like Vanessa was weak, and we all know about your extramarital escapades, but this is just utterly disgraceful. And so after Joey said what he said about having Doug killed, the lady walked away like, oh my God, wait, what? So she he looks at Vanessa's face and it's like, wait, what did you say? And he goes, Vanessa, you know I'm joking, right? I just said that to shut that self-righteous biddy up, right? And so she goes, "Oh, of course, of course." He goes, I would never do anything to Doug, Vanessa, and I hope you know that. So she was just kind of like, oh, okay, all right. But it just shocked her as how callously he said it. And then he says, I have decided what business of mine that I am going to put you over. And she said, what? No, what do you mean, what business of yours? I want to be equal partners in business with you. He said, Vanessa, I didn't start out where I am today. You got to walk before you crawl. He says, I am going to put you over my escort service. It is a legitimate business, and you would be good at it. You have taste, you have style, you'll what our clients want. Because you are certainly a good customer, and you'll know what our workers, our employees, what the hell they need to dress, right? You'll be able to shape and mold them. And he goes, you see Diego over there? And she looked. She says, yeah. He goes, yeah, I know. You know Diego well. And she looked at Joey. She goes, he said, Diego works for me. Diego works for the escort service. He is one of my highest paid escorts. I had him apply and work here at this country club. I placed him here. And she looked at him. She goes, Diego never charged me a dime. And Joey says, oh, well, that's a problem. Because Diego is not supposed to give any of his time away for free. He says, and there are a lot of women here that utilize Diego. And she looked and she thought, yeah, Anastasia's one of them, right? And so he says, oof, he goes, you never paid for Diego. She said, no. He said, then you owe me quite a bit of money. And Vanessa looked at him and said, well, should we go to my house so I can start working off the debt? And he's like, as tempting as that might sound, I got a casino business. I have to go. So as he's leaving, he walks over by Anastasia's table and he puts his little gun like right at her, and she goes right, and he looks at her and he walks away. So Vanessa walks over to Anastasia's table and she goes, Anastasia, uh, remember how I told you Joey and I are business partners? She says, uh, what's his name? Diego works for me. And Anastasia, what are you talking about? She goes, oh, no, no, no. No, we're not gonna play coy. You book Diego a lot. Mm-hmm. Well, now just understand this. You're gonna be paying me. And she looks at her and she walks away. And Anastasia's like, mm-hmm. Yeah. So Naomi talks to actually they start off at her, Jacob at Orphe Jeans. She's her usual snipish in him. I fast forward. I didn't want to hear it. Then he goes to see Nicole. And Naomi ends up having lunch with Chelsea. And Nicole says, I can't see you as a patient. I can refer you. She goes, I have a great referral for you, let them know I'm sending you. She goes, and he goes, well, thank you for the referral. And I understand. And he's turning to leave, and she goes, Jacob, I can't see you as a client, but I could talk to you as family because we are family. So he tells her the whole story. And he was saying that, yeah, I know I'm the one that changed their views on having children. He goes, but I did, and it's happened. With the thought that she was pregnant for that brief period, I realized I wanted that baby. And so she says, okay. She says, but while you're working out, your feelings with therapists and on how to communicate better with Naomi, she says, here, I have a suggestion for you. You can be involved with children without having children of your own. And he looked at her. She says, you have this view of, oh, a baby, and it's going to be easy, and it's this, that, and the other. She goes, there's nothing easy about raising children. Wonderful and rewarding, but it's not easy. And she says, here's my suggestion. Tomas volunteers with this organization, and she may have said the organization. He's a big brother, and he mentors children or a child. She says, volunteer at that organization. They could pair you with a child and you can mentor that child. You have a lot to offer, Jacob. And I know you'd be a huge benefit to a child. And he looked at her, he goes, I hadn't thought about that. I'll think about that. Right? Now Naomi talking to Chelsea, which is crazy. Chelsea, you never know what's gonna come out her mouth. But she ended up telling, Naomi that, okay, so now Jacob want to change the game after what you have decided, you both decided years ago. She says, okay. She says, but you're handling this, Chelsea, and the way you're talking about, I have done nothing wrong. He wants to go to family therapy, and I told him he's the one that's changed. He needs the therapy. And so Chelsea said, you need to stop handling this as a lawyer, Naomi. And that's what you're doing. She goes, you're supposed to be on my side. She goes, I'm always on your side. But I'm telling you, she says, what is so wrong with you both talking through this with a therapist? She says, you feel you haven't done nothing wrong. And she's like, well, maybe you could benefit to learn how to talk with Jacob through this with the therapist can help you with that. She said, are you ready? No, what Chelsea said is, okay, you know what? So what I'm hearing is this. Go ahead and throw in the towel. Your first marriage goes down the tubes because he changed his mind or has different feelings he didn't know he was going to have. And on to the next husband number two. And hopefully husband number two won't change his mind years down the road either, Naomi. And she goes, you're telling me to get a divorce from Jacob? And Chelsea's like, well, that's the way you're talking. I mean, you might as well. Let's do it. Bam, cut the ties and let's do it. And Naomi's looking like, she goes, do you love Jacob, Naomi? And she's like, of course I love Jacob. Are you willing to fight for your relationship, your marriage to Jacob? That's what you got to ask yourself. Or do you want to stand and handle this like a lawyer is going to handle this? So Jacob comes back to Orphe Jeans and uh, he tells Chelsea that he talked to Nicole and she goes, but Nicole is not going to be my therapist because she can't treat me, as because I'm family, although she treating Martin, right? Or is she? And he says, but she gave me a really good suggestion that I'm going to think about. And Naomi says, and she gave me a referral to an excellent therapist that she wants me to reach out to. And Naomi says, I'll go with you. And he looked at her. He said, what? He says, I thought you said you, she goes, no, I'll go with you, Jacob. So she's gonna go. She actually, I guess Chelsea, what she said got through to her, and she's gonna go. Um, Pamela, I'm actually sick of Pamela badgering Andre behind Danny's back, telling Andre, what are you so afraid of? You want to stand in the way of Danny's dream. This is Danny's big chance, and she may not have another one. Her demographic is it's really hard to rebuild a career. And I'm thinking, okay, Pam, so were you blowing smoke up Danny's nose when you talked her into being the spokesmodel of your own firm? Because she's Danny Dupree. And your new company, your new agency needed her to lead the way. What happened to that, Pam? Because if that's not the case, then y'all should develop another little supermodel. Seriously. Because you're trying to guilt and force Andre to do this. And I thought that was very unfair, very unfair. Because he goes, Danny is okay with my decision, right? And she goes, that's because Danny will do anything for you. And I'm thinking, no, she wouldn't. She goes, but if you love Danny, will you do this for her? And it's like, no. She goes, all it is a couple of little photos. No, it's not, Pam. It's a whole campaign. It's an ironclad contract for a period of time. It is not a couple of photos. She goes, you're handsome. Just because Andre is handsome doesn't mean he's good in front of the camera. Now, like Bill's investigator said, Andre used to be all over social media pictures, him at parties, him on runways, working. He's got his camera, but on a date with some supermodel. But that's your life. I'm going to dinner with my date, and the paparazzi is there snapping pictures of me. That's not me at a photo shoot as a model with another photographer that maybe at a higher caliber trying to give me directions and look this way. No, give me some. It's different. So he's just thinking, and I'm like, Andre, don't give in to that. Don't, because you don't want to do it. Your no should be no, period. Danny and Pam did not build this agency with you in mind. So that's how I feel about that. I didn't like that at all, right? That's it. Vernon. They didn't show Vernon or Sharon again. And did they show Anita? I don't even think they showed Anita. If they did, it was that, oh, they spent way too much time with Leslie and Eva talking, and it bored me to tears. I fast forwarded their whole conversation. I didn't care. That's all I wanted for you, baby girl. She's like, mm-mm. Okay, there we go. We've heard that before. So anyway, we will see what happens on tomorrow's episode of BTG Beyond the Gates. Let's go to Comment Corner. Comment Corner, I'm going to turn on my trusty, dusty timer. And I'm going to do a few minutes, 5 minutes of Comment Corner here. Okay. All right. We have Po Boop said, hey, Daily Recap lady, didn't Clifton Davis star and sing with Melba Moore in the 70s? I believe they had a show together. Yes, they did. Now, Po Boop was not the first one to say this because I'm starting from the top down. And actually, the way the timeline is for comments, it's the comments at the bottom were the comments that were given first. Actually, you know what? Since I did ask that poll, I am going to start from the bottom because the bottom is the first people who commented. And the bottom commenter is Lucy. Lucy said, I believe all the women in the articulates liked Vernon Dupree. That's true, right? But Anita got him. Krista says, I had a big crush on Clifton Davis back in the day. Me too. Lucy said to Krista, I'm glad Clifton Davis joined the cast of BTG. He's a minister in real life. Back in 1971, he wrote the Jackson 5 hit Never Can Say Goodbye. Wow. He's been in several films, Broadway, and TV shows. Okay, so now Black Purple Turquoise says the episode of Beyond the Gate was boring to me. I honestly didn't even make it a point to try really to watch it. I was doing a bunch of other things, just walking around. I am glad. But I guess I'll say something in the spirit of starting off a new week in Fair My Crash. Ashley and Derek are beyond painful to watch. Oh, did they show them? Because I'm not talking about them at all. Ooh, to watch to me. They don't mesh at all as a couple and they need to break up. for good and leave one another alone. However, I want Danny and Andre to stay married, and I don't want to see him with boring vanilla over there get together so contrivingly at the way wait contrivedly at any point moving forward. Thanks, Miss Daily Recap Lady. Okay, and then Blake says Melva Moore starred. So Blake was the first one. Melva Moore starred in a show with Clifton Davis. They were also romantic partners at one time. The Gates felt slow and a filler today. I know. Fast forward a lot of scenes. Laura mentioned the relationship problems. Was that yesterday? I thought that was Monday. Could be a lurid. Well, no, this would be talking about Monday. You're right. Could be alluded to her possibly being paired with Jacob. Ugh, at some point, since they're showing her more often. Goodness. And then Krista says, "Yep, yepers." And then Sandra says, "Yes, he can sing like the other comments. He and Melvin Moore had a show together, and they were in the show together. I heard he sings in Houston, Texas, at a church years ago. I think he maybe it's his church. Sharon is giving him lessons, and I do believe at his age he probably needs it. That's all. That's in a joking way. Please let Ted and Leslie go their merry way. We all know how he feels, and he enjoys Leslie and Eva. I know, really. Let me know what Ashley and Derek are doing. No, I don't look to me for Ashley and Derek updates because I'm not giving them. And then Sharon also gives some great other comments. All right, one last comment. Cleo says Vernon is taking lessons from Sharon's. I don't care about Eva and Leslie's crying fest. Me either. All right, that's it for Beyond the Gate Tuesday, November the 4th. I'll be back tomorrow with another daily recap of BTG Beyond the Gates.